Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue with the lesson number 7, that is national income. This national income, we have learned about the meaning of national income, definition of national income, features of national income. In features of national income, we got to know about that it is a microeconomic concept. We need to consider value of only final goods and services. Net aggregate value we need to calculate. Then we need to find out the net income from abroad. We got to know about the financial year in India is from 1st April to 31st of March, as well as national income is a flow concept, and in national income we is always expressed in monetary terms. Next, we got to know about the circular flow of national income, wherein we got familiar with the terms of two-sector model, where we had household and business firm, three-sector economy, wherein we had household, business firm, and government sector. Four sector economy, we had household, business firm, government, and foreign sector. Out of this three, one in detail we studied about two sector model of circular flow of national income from the household and firm's point of view. Next thing, we got to know about the different concepts of national income. Four main concepts on national income we got to know, that is gross domestic product, net domestic product, gross national product, and net national product. Even its derivation we got to know. Afterwards, we got to know about the concept of green GNP, why it is important for our economic growth and development. And India is looking forward to work on green GNP. Then we studied about methods of measurement of national income. We got to know about three methods of measurement of national income. First one was output method, which is also called as product method or inventory method. How we need to calculate, what precautions we need to take, we had studied. Next thing is from the income point of view. Income method is also called as factor cost method, because we give income to the factors. That is why it is called as factor cost method. Afterwards, we got to know about its derivation, the formula to calculate, precautionary measures that are important to take. Third method we studied about expenditure method. Okay, and precautionary measure. Expenditure method, we got to know that it is not practiced by many of the economy. Our Indian economy in India, we usually take calculate our national income via by income method and output method. Today we are going to analyze the concept difficulties in the measurement of national income. There are two types of difficulties in measurement of national income. First one is theoretical difficulties or conceptual difficulties, practical difficulties or statistical difficulties. Then you all are going to present on the topic given to you all on importance of national income. Before it, I would like to ask you all one question. Write down the meaning of national income in the chat box. What is meant by national income? What is meant by national income? Aniket Anuradha replied, the total amount of money earned within a country is called as national income. Ojas replied, national income comprises of all economic, microeconomic factors such as total income output, total consumption, etc. Yeah. Darshana replied, income generated by production activity on economic territory of that particular country. Okay. Pramila replied, national income means the value of goods and services produced by a country during a financial year. Yes, good. So let us move ahead with our today's part. Now, when we were studying these methods, when we were studying this feature, we got to know that we need to calculate the value of final goods and services. We need to calculate the income. We need to calculate the total expenses, total expenditure. Is it that easy to calculate? As it is written in theory, as they are given in formula, that For calculating expend income method, the formula is NI is equal to R plus W plus I plus P plus MI plus X minus M. Is it that easy to find out the variables of the ratio? Is it easy for us to find out the ratio of rent of entire country, wages, mixed income, profit earned by entrepreneur? Is it easily available? No. Why it is not easily available? Because when we in features we got to know that samples have been collected. Is it necessary whatever samples are been collected is correct, is appropriate? Can we rely on those particular data? No. So as the theory part tells us that yes, these are the formulas and these are the methods, we can if we apply this and we can easily calculate. No, it is not that easy. The theory itself has some difficulties. Now, what are those difficulties that we are going to study in detail? After studying the theoretical difficulties, we will study what are the practical difficulties when we are actually applying this concept of calculating national income. What practical difficulties will be faced by the economist? Now let us see the first one. The first one is transfer payment. I already told you all the meaning of transfer payment. I want you all to write down the meaning of transfer payment or example of transfer payment, whatever you know. Yes, I have got few replies. Transfer payment is an one side or one way payment. Okay. So Pramila replied, transfer payment are not included in national income. Okay. A payment made on income received in which no goods and services are been paid. Yes, Aniket. And Anuradha replied, a payment made on in or income received in which no goods and services are been paid for, such as benefit payment. Okay. So basically, transfer payment, it is a one-way payment of money from which no money or goods and services is received in exchange. Yes, good, Ojas, you gave the example as well. We can take retirement pension as an example of transfer payment. Yes, good. So what does government do over here in transfer payment? Government receives revenue, government receives income, and government gives that income to front person. But in return, government doesn't receive any kind of goods and services. This is called as transfer payment. So government use such payment as a mean of income redistribution by giving out money under social welfare program such as social security, old age, disability pension, student grants, unemployment compensation. So these are called as transfer payment. So individual gets pension, unemployment allowances, etc. But whether this transfer payment should be included in national income or not is a major problem. One hand, they are part of individual's income. Okay, government is giving its income to someone in the form of grant, in the form of pension. So that is income for the front person. On the other hand, they are part of government expenditure. But what government is doing? Government is doing expenses. Government is spending. Hence, this transfer payment are not included in the national income. Write down the meaning of illegal income in the chat box and examples of it. I got the reply in Anuradha says income derived from illegal activities. Ojas replied the income which is received from illegal activities is referred as illegal income. Okay, can you all tell me, give me the example of what are the illegal activities? Yes, Pramila replied, income received by black marketing from, I just replied another example, betting in cricket matches. Yeah. Why this illegal income is a theoretical difficulty? Yes, or just gambling is another example. So income derived from illegal activities such as betting, theft, gambling. These are the examples of illegal. Means whatever money we receive after doing these things is are included as illegal income. Now, can you all tell me why it is a theoretical difficulty? According to you all, what do you feel? Why it is included in the theoretical difficulty? It is included in your text. It is giving illegal income like income from gambling, black marketing, theft, smuggling, etc. Not included in national income. Why it should be in theory tells us that illegal income should not be included, right? But it is there our income, right? Someone is receiving that money in the form of income. Their account are not been recorded, their account are not been maintained by the government. Yes, good, Ojas. The income is not been kept away, is kept away from the governmental agencies. But you all tell me this is income, right? Though the work done is illegal, the people who are involved in this work, they receive income. So why it is not mentioned in the national income? That is why our theory tells us that we should not include income received from the illegal income. But though front person is receiving some amount of income, so it should be included. Okay, so this is the second theoretical difficulty which tells us that in national income illegal incomes are not been included. Okay, unpaid services. Example of unpaid services. Give me the example for unpaid services. We have live examples, and you all have told me during the previous lecture as well. Just gave the correct example, cooking done by a mother. Second example, I'll take off just only, cooking done by the chef. When chef is cooking the food, we pay for him. We pay for it, right? Whenever he, okay. But whenever our mother is cooking food for us, we are not paying for her. So this unpaid services is somewhat injustice from a theoretical difficulties point of view. She is working. We can estimate and give her the payment, right? So let us see what it is. For the purpose of calculating national income, only paid goods and services are considered. However, there are number of unpaid services which are not accounted for in the calculation of national income. For example, services of housewife and the services provided out of love, affection, mercy, sympathy, charity, etc. not included in national income. Now NGOs are there. Okay, other non-governmental organizations are there who are providing social services, or who are giving social service to the people. What are this? They give at free of cost. It is a unpaid services. They do not receive any kind of money in return. Same with mother teaching at your mother teaching to you all some concepts. Okay, she is doing household work. Your friend is guiding you. What are these are unpaid services, but someone professional will guide you. What you all will do, you all will pay some amount of money to front person, and that money will be included in the national income. But instead of taking a professional guidance, you're taking a guidance from your friend, but that money is not included. So is it correct? No. So over here our theory doesn't clear about this unpaid services. People who are giving services out of love, affection, mercy, why we are not including that services in the national income? Why are we only including value of goods and services in the national income. Now, next thing is about the production of self-consumption. I want you all to give example of it. Self-consumption means what? Mm, yes, over here, according to this theoretical concept, we are taking it as a leisure activity. OJS is questioning, so ma'am, unpaid services can be referred as leisure activity? Yeah, but it is not a leisure activity. It is not a pastime. Over here, we are just not paying it, so it should be included. So it is a difficulty that we are ignoring these things, okay, from a theoretical concept. Now tell me the meaning of self-consumption. What is the meaning of self-consumption? An example of it. What is the meaning of self-consumption? An example of it. Yes, good. So Jigna replied, consuming by ourselves. So we have producers. Okay, Ojas even replied, the goods and services consumed by ourselves for personal use is referred as self-consumption. Good, Ojas. Can you give me the example of it? One example is one example at least. Who are in our economy? We have people who give some good as self-consumption, food, but who are keeping food as self-consumption? Jigna, who will keep? We to go and purchase from the market. No, it is correct, but elaborate little bit. So self-consumption means producer themselves consume the entire or part of the output they produce is self-consumption. So best example is farmer over here. What farmer do? Farmer, yes, farmer produce agriculture product, and they keep some part as a self as a self consumption for themselves and use it for self consumption. Even uh, we we have capital products as well, okay, who produce the product and keep some quantity for themselves, okay. We can take example of manufacturing industry as well. They manufacture goods, cloth. They will keep some remove some keep some part of cloth aside, and they can use it for themselves, or else they can give it to someone, okay. So this, even this concept is a theoretical difficulty part. Why it is theoretical difficulty part? Let us see. The products kept for self consumption by the farmer and other allied activities means what? Animal husbandry, do not enter the market. Producers do not. Why it is not maintained? Because as the production process takes place, the people keep the product aside, and that product, whatever is been kept for as a aside part, it doesn't enter the market. As it doesn't enter the market, its income record is not there. So that is why this part of self consumption is not included in the national income, is a theoretical difficulty. Why it should not be included? It should be included in the national income because the product has been produced. That product has some value, has some monetary value. Just because it is not entering the market, it doesn't mean that it should not be included in the national income. Okay. Second thing is that people are not keeping the record of this self consumption and not giving it to the government agencies. That is why this part, so you can see a national income, whatever the ratio is there, it is not appropriate, it is not accurate. Next thing is income of foreign firm. Now you all tell me, whatever foreign for in GDP we got to know, that foreign firms, when it is set up in India, when a foreigner is setting up his firm in India, whatever production activity will take place, that will take place in India. After production, whatever output will be there, and whatever output will be sold or supplied in Indian territory will be there in Indian territory. Whatever profit he is going to earn as an entrepreneur, he is going to take the entire money and give it to his own country. Is it correct? Is this theory correct? Is this theory correct? A foreigner who has set up his industry or firm in India, earning profit in India, but that profit, whatever he has earned, is giving to some other, to his own resident, to his own country, of which he is resident of. Is this theory correct? No. Obviously, that profit, whatever is earning in terms of Indian currency. So, according to IMF, that is Indian Monetary Fund, income of foreign firm should be included in the national income of the country where the firm actually undertakes the production work. So what IMF tells us, that the foreign firm, whatever foreign firm is there in India, income should be earned in India and it should be included in national income of our country. But what if they are transferring? So it is a difficulty measurement we cannot calculate properly. Valuation of government services. Government provides a number of public services such as law and order, defense, public administration, education, health services, etc. The calculation of these services at the market price is difficult, as the real value of the services is not known. Therefore, it is difficult to calculate national income. Now, whatever government services is providing, like transportation, we can say, health facility, we can say, uh, we are not actually aware about the market value. That is why it is not easy for us to calculate during when we are calculating the national income. Changes in price level. Difficulties in calculating national income also arises due to the changes in price level. For example, when the price rises, the national income may show increase even though the production may have decreased. Now, as a rational consumer, whenever the prices of goods and services are increasing, we will not purchase that much product. If we are not purchasing, production process will not take place that much, right? So, but what over here the concept tells us, that price of goods and services increases, that means national income also increase. But what if production process has reduced? That thing we are not considering. Also, when price level falls, the national income falls, which may show a decrease even though the production is increasing. Why production will increase? Because when price is less, consumer will tend to demand more. If consumer is demanding more, production will automatically increase. And even whenever the production process will take place, it will take place at a low cost. But what over here concept tells us, what our theory tells us? Our theory tells us that increase in price, that means increase in national income. Though the production is decreasing, will our national income increase? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. Okay. So these were the theoretical difficulties which we studied till now. Next thing is about the practical difficulties. There are total 8 practical difficulties. First one we are familiar with, problem of double counting. Over here, when a particular good will face a double counting problem, we have raw materials, intermediate goods. Okay. Uh, for example, I told you all about the wheat, about the cloth. Okay, So for example, I will take one example. We'll take one example of bread according to your text. The greatest difficulty in calculating national income is the double counting. It arises from the failure to distinguish properly between final and intermediate product. Okay, double counting will arise when we are not able to define whether that product is a final product or whether that product is an intermediate product, because some intermediate product can be a final product as well. For example, flour used by a bakery is an intermediate product, and that by a household is a final product. Now whatever flour we are going to use for household, we are going to use it for the direct consumption, whereas it is for bakery, it is a intermediate good. So whether we need to consider this flour as a final product or as an intermediate product, that is a big question mark for us. So that is why whenever practically we apply that we should not do double counting, this problem arises. Existence of non-monetarized sectors. Non-monetarized means what? The sector which doesn't get money in return. Best example, barter system, exchange of goods and services are still there in our economy. In agriculture, especially in rural area, farmer has produced some product, whatever product he has produced, suppose wheat he has produced, he will give wheat and he will take eggs in return. This is called as non-monetized sector. Okay, as well as some other things are also there. Let us see what is this. In India, especially in rural areas, there exists the non-monetized sector. Agriculture still being in the nature of subsistence farming, a major part of production is exchanged for other goods and services. It is excluded while counting national income. Now, as this is not taken in terms of monetary, okay, egg and wheat, I told you the example. So this is not included, this ratio, whatever the wheat or whatever eggs they have exchanged, exchange taken place between two people, those things are not been included in the national income. Inadequate and unreliable data. Now whatever data we a collection are been done, those collection are been done based on this sample. I already told you that we cannot go and take the record of each and every people living in India. What we do, we take sample, we collect 10 out of 1 people's data. Okay, and based on it we create a data and we estimate our national income. Adequate and correct data on production and cost, data relating to crops, fisheries, animal husbandry, forestry, construction workers, small enterprises, etc. are not available in a developing country. Okay, we all of us know that in our developing country, a farmer doesn't keep proper record, fishers, okay, those who are working at the small scale part, they don't maintain the record. If at all they maintain the record, their records are not been properly updated or properly maintained. Beside this, data on unearned income, we example we got to know, okay, like mother, okay, social service doing out of love, sympathy, care. Okay, consumption and investment expenditure on rural and urban population are also not available. Okay, so whatever consumption has been done, I told you that C and I ratio is important for calculation, but the C and I ratio is not available. Okay, so this doesn't reveal the actual size of national income. That is why it is difficult for us to calculate what actual national income is there. Now depreciation. Depreciation means what? What is the meaning of depreciation? Depreciation refers to wear and tear of capital assets. Due to their use in the process of production, there are no uniform. There are no uniform, common or accepted standard rate of depreciation applicable to the various capital assets. Thus, it is difficult to make the correct deduction or depreciation. Now, government doesn't has not given us that we have used the capital product for 5 years. So you have to deduct 10% of cost. The exact ratio or exact valuation is not given to us uh, by different people. That is why it is difficult to make the correct deduction for the depreciation. Okay, if front people are telling 1 year you have used this capital, you need to deduct 2%. You have used 2 years, deduct 4%. But no, they have not given us such kind of deduction valuation. Okay, or no standard rates of depreciation are been disclosed, okay, or said. Capital gains or loss. Capital gains or capital losses. Now, sometimes after the production, when a producer is earning profit, okay, there are two situations. A producer or entrepreneur will earn profit, or he or she will face loss. But whatever profit he has earned, that will not be included in the national income, and whatever loss has been faced, that will also not be included when we think practically about the situation. Capital gains and capital loss which occur to the property owner by increase or decrease in the market value of the capital assets or change in demand are not included in national income, because these changes do not result from the correct economic activities. Okay. Next thing is about illiteracy and ignorant. People are ignorant, and as people are ignorant, people do not keep the proper records. They just ignore, chalo ho gaya na production process, it is done. Illiterate people are not having proper knowledge about how to maintain the record, what things need to be included, what things need to be excluded. Okay, due to ignorance and illiteracy. Illiteracy means not having proper knowledge, ignorance means not paying proper attention. Small producers do not keep an account of their production, so they cannot give information about the quantity or value of their output. So whenever they file IT, they do not mention proper data or proper value. Okay, because of ignorance and illiteracy. Difficulty in classification of working population. In India, working population is not clearly defined. For example, farmers in India are not engaged in agriculture round the year. Now, farmer is what you say is doing the cultivation of grapes. Will he do the grape cultivation for the entire year? No, it is seasonal. So, rest of the months, what will he be doing? He will be doing something. He will be engaged in some of the other work, right? So in our India, working population are not been classified properly. Okay. Obviously, in the off season, farmer will be engaged in alternative occupation. In such cases, it is very difficult to identify the income from a particular occupation. Okay, which income the farmer is mentioning, whether he is mentioning both the income, because over here working population is not been properly specified. Okay, valuation of inventories, raw material, intermediate goods, semi-finished and finished product in the stock of the producer are called as inventories. Any mistake in measuring the value of inventory will distort the value of the final production. We will not get the correct value, okay, from the producer. Therefore, the valuation of inventories requires careful assessment. Whenever the value of inventories are been measured, proper assessment we need to do for having the accurate valuation. So these were our practical and theoretical difficulties whenever we are going to calculate national income. Now, who has prepared for importance of national income is there as a self-study part, but I had distributed these 6 topics, six among 6 of you all. So who has prepared? for the economy? Raise your hand. National income is important for the economy. Who has prepared? So importance of national income, it is important for the economy. It is national income is important in framing national policy, for proper economic planning, for economic research, to compare standard of living between the years, and distribution of, to have the record of distribution of income. This part is as a self study, you need to study by yourself and might be included for your internal examination.